first part of my glass cannon walkthrough for the entire playthrough of Dark Souls 3. Just in case you're wondering, this is not my first playthrough of the game. I have beat it with another character that I started as a sorcerer.
Indeed.
However, it did not end up being a full glass cannon like I had intended.
Where the transitory lands of the Lords of Cinder converge. In venturing north, the pilgrims discover the truth of the old words. The fire fades, and the lords go without thrones. When the link of fire is threatened, the bell tolls, unearthing the old lords of Cinder from their graves. Aldrich, saint of the deep, Farron's undead legion, the Abyss Watchers. And the reclusive lord of the profaned capital. Yom the Giant. Only in truth, the lords will abandon their thrones. And the unkindled will rise. Nameless, accursed undead, unfit even to be cinder. And so it is that ash seeketh embers.
Alright everybody, sorry about that, I just didn't want to talk during the cinematic for you. Anyway, as I was stating, this is going to be a complete walkthrough of the game in segments by area and boss fight, playing as a glass cannon. And so I'm going to start as the sorcerer. The ability to have the soul arrow and heavy soul arrow at the beginning of the game is huge. They're both fairly effective combat spells. It can be a little bit tricky to use them while in melee combat, but as long as you roll and give yourself some room, you shouldn't have too many problems. I am going to go ahead and start with the life ring just to give myself a little bit more sustainability. Too much with the customization here. blue eyes, since the sorcery is blue. And let's give her a different haircut, huh? Honestly, I don't think that looks too bad. Said I don't want to go super in-depth here and spend a whole bunch of time on the character customization, but I do want to have a character that, while I'm looking at for the next hours of gameplay, isn't hideous. She needs a name. Got another little cinematic here in the intro, so I'm gonna go ahead and mute myself, and I'll see you guys after. That one's pretty short and sweet, like most of the Dark Souls cinematics. Like I said, this is not my first playthrough, and I did buy the guide, so I do know where 99% of all the items and shortcuts and everything's at, so I will pick them all up to the best of my effort. Do some research in between each section here just to make sure I grab everything that I can think of. Not gonna take the time to stop and blow the guide while I am working on the video here. So most of these area clears will be pretty short and sweet. Stop too fast. And one thing that's important to note is, as a sorcerer, you know, you see me blowing up all these guys, you know, at base level with just regular soul arrows in one shot. Eventually, that obviously no longer happens. You do have to fight. You do need to be in melee combat against some enemies and in certain circumstances. But one thing that I always find important to stress to people that have difficulty with playing glass cannons is that you need to use everything available to you to your advantage. And I'm going to show you part of that here just by kind of cheesing through the crystal lizard real quick. So I'm just going to get him to aggro on him and make sure that he stays fairly close. If you get too far away from him, he is going to try and go back. So just stay a little close to him. Watch out for his roll. Both have pretty good telegraphs. Just roll away from the jump and this will net you a 4,000 souls and a Titanite scale, which is nice if you plan on using any of the boss weapons. And so what I'm going to do, excuse me, is just lead him up here to the edge of the cliff, try and get him to do his rolling attack when he's facing the cliff. So just roll head on off. If he doesn't roll off the cliff the first time, you can just lead him up here to the top of the cliff, facing off the cliff towards the bonfire, and then use the edge of this cliff right here. And there he goes. Oh, no. What the heck? He hung on to the very edge of the cliff. Come on. There he goes. Yeah, all of his melee attacks have very wide sweeps, and he moves himself a fair distance, or it moves itself, I suppose, a fair distance when it does those attacks. And so if you just stay near the edge of the cliff, it can be rather dangerous, because when you're looking at the enemy, you can't see the cliff to your back, so be careful, don't roll off. But just baiting him out here towards the bonfire and then backing up to the edge of the cliff, trying to get his roll attack, sometimes it takes too long. So I will go back for that real quick. It's just an item up there by where the crystal lizard was originally at. Alright, so I am going to go ahead and rest the bonfire one more time, just to get the small amount of FP back that I used clearing out those 3 guys. Just to make sure that I have as much as possible going into this fight. Primarily because you only have, at this point, access to 1 Ashen Estus Flask. We'll go ahead and clear out this entire area, just to show you guys, if you haven't seen it already. So you can take this path down this way. There's a crossbowman and a spearman down here that defend the item behind them. I believe it's just another soul. But you can also, if you look up that cliff right there by where the other guy is standing, you can drop down onto them from up there, which gives you the option of not having to engage in combat against the spearmen while the crossbowman. Just like this. Oh, just some firebombs. Now, that's all that's down there in that little section. It does lead you through the archway to the first boss. But right here from this bonfire, if you come out and up the hill, straight ahead, you'll notice that there's an item on top of this little tomb. If you run straight at it, just over the top of the small rock right here, and then jump, you'll land right there into the tree. One thing that's also important to note about the jumping mechanics is that if you release the stick while jumping, your character doesn't roll when landing. So, just like this. Your character stops right where they are. Not necessarily necessary right here because you can roll into the tree, but it is handy for some jumps where you just want to stay put in case rolling would lead you off a cliff. So we're going to go ahead and step into the boss fight. One thing is that against this boss, once you draw the sword out and he starts to animate, you can deal damage to him before he even grabs his weapon. So just draw the sword, and as soon as I have access, see there he's hiding small thing. Pardon me for that one, guys, but it's probably not the only boss you're going to see me die to in this playthrough. It shouldn't have happened to him, just because he is rather easy to read and predictable. But things happen. It's been a long game. So when approaching from down here, originally, there's a guy right here that you saw me hit with the soul arrow last time. And drop that. Alright, one thing I forgot to do last time is go ahead and power up my just a little bit of extra damage on him. Have rather long recovery time. is supposed to be in ease, but... Alright guys. And girls, thank you very much for joining me, and hopefully you enjoyed. If you liked the video, feel free to hit the thumbs up button. If you disliked it, go ahead and hit the thumbs down. And as always, if you would like, go ahead and leave me some comments or any feedback you may have. And I will go ahead and get started on the episode for Firelink Shrine and the High Wall of Lothric. See you guys here in just a bit.